Shechoyla Sahava Shh, everybody, hold on. Good Voch Leilu Nishmas I want to start off with a quick video, if you don't mind. It's actually a two-part video. The guy didn't realize there's going to be a part two. This is why you stand behind your car when the lease return guy takes it away. I guess in America, when you lease a car, they come and they take it from your house. There's some things in a car that just are too sentimental and aren't easy to replace. Here we go.
Thank you. Oh.
Hold on. Here goes.
I forgot to take this off. There we go. This is. Forgot these bumper stickers. It's the most important part. Take care.
If anybody wants bumper stickers, I have here. Well, first of all, we have a bunch of guests here. We got to talk to the guests for a second. Shalom Aleichem. Your name is? Menachem El Shalom Aleichem, all the way from London. Been with us since Masechta Sukkah. You need one of these? Which one do you want? There's a bunch. This doesn't exist anymore. We're gonna put it back in there. So no, it's chashav. It's an antique. Here, you could have one of these. What's your name? Hillel Jachter from Teaneck, New Jersey. Joel Mizrahi's friend. He's right here, the father. Wow, how do you know him? Here, Sadik, take these. Anybody want this? You don't even know what that is. You don't even know what that is. Okay, Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? David Joseph from? Also, you guys know each other? Same from where?
Now we do.
Oh, now you do. No, seriously, just met?
Yeah. I didn't know him.
Do you know that you guys do the same shir? No.
No.
Wow. So London's more than a few blocks?
No, they just don't speak to each other.
You know how many people are here around in the shir today now who are Shaykhs with, who know me and my kids? It's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Just here in the room.
Just here.
Shalom Aleichem, you're his father. Shalom Aleichem, and you are? Martin Lzchus. Maladumim. You wrote me a bunch of emails, didn't you? Okay. Who else wants? Who has a car that wants to put this on? Oh, I got to save one for... Here, put it out. Here, give them out. This way, that way, that way. Okay. Are you going to be quiet the whole week? You can get one of these. Here, you take one, give him one. Fine. That just means we don't have enough emails. Rabbi said, check out this new ad. I love this ad. Benny, there's a shear going on here. Okay. Give Benny here, give him quickly before it runs out. Rabbi said this wasn't this week's Ami. I think sponsored by Yossi Klein. But I love the top. I think it's perfect for Parshas Korach. Hasidish, Litvish, Yeshivish, Sephardic. This is an actual picture taken in the New York shir where the 800 people showed up. That's the picture. Korach va'adosoi. Lo yisiyah ki Korach va'adosoi. Bunch of shalom. Shavua Tov. Should I tell you guys a story? I wanted to say on Erev Shabbos, a story when it spoke about shalom, but we were running out of time. I'll tell it to you real quickly. I thought it was a gewaldige story. It's a story I really despise. It makes me mad, the story, but I'll say it anyways. There was a guy that was very, very friendly with somebody that went through the war, and he invited him every Shabbos. This old man would come to him and eat by him. One Shabbos, this old man gave Musar to the son that was sitting there at the table. So the Balabas told him off. He said, listen, it's my son, let me be Mechanachim. What are you telling him what to do? The guy got up in the middle of the meal. He walked out of the house. For weeks, months, he didn't come back. The Balabas felt bad. His friend for years been coming over. So he reached out to him and he apologized. And, it happens. So the guy came back. Guy comes back. And after Shabbos, he says, listen, I left. When I left, I took you off my Yerusha. But now, I put you back in the Yerusha. Here, he gives him the shtar. This is the new will. Okay. A few years go by and he's nifter. So the guy takes the will, lawyer, goes to court to see what's going on. He finds out as follows. The old man that went through Auschwitz left $6 million. But it seems like this Balabas, his own mechutin, did some feilish shtick and kept the original will and put it on his name and stole all his money. So he erased his name, did some this, and ignored the following, the updated shtar. So he goes to Rav Vosner. He says, what should I do? So Rav Vosner says, listen, al pi halacha, you're 100% right. You get at least half the Yerusha. I think the mechutim might have been 50-50 with him. You get your $3 million. But the famous line, from vitur, you never lose. Giving in, you never lose. So the guy took a match, burnt the shtar, burnt it. And he went to family Simchas and he sees his mechutin, Shalom Aleichem, how are you? The guy thought that he doesn't know, he knew everything, how he stole the $3 million from him. And they went on like this. And later on, a few years later, he bumped into Rav Vosner again. He was sure Rav Vosner wouldn't remember him. Rav Vosner looked at him, he says, no, from Vitr do you lose? And he told Rav Vosner, no, right afterwards, that tremendous hatzlacha, I made much more money than what I was supposed to get from the Yerusha. It's one of these stories that really, I don't know how a person could do something like that. Light it up with a fire, match, but shalom. Dikir is shalom. So that's why, I'm reminded by this thing right here. Hasidish, Litvish, Yeshivish, Sephardic, doesn't matter. Bridge the gaps. We're all one. In this year, we're here for one thing, for one purpose, to learn Torah together. I wanted to write to you for years to thank everyone for all the hard work that goes into making the shir so amazing. To you for preparing and giving the shir, which would not be possible without your just right amount of gaiva. To Gary for making all the cameras and computers work. I saw firsthand in Chicago how difficult that actually is. To Yosef Bilyak for his next level editing of the videos. Many times the edited videos are even better and more understandable than the unedited shir. And to all of the many others who make the graphics, go do the fundraising and learn with you. When you were in Chicago, you called me out for being a hide in the back of the room guy. So, before this upcoming siyum, I would like to ask you to encourage the other hide in the back of the room guys to attend the siyum from Masechtas Yevamos, even if it's not an MDY siyum. Go and hide in the back. Just by being there, you'll inspire others. I myself went to a local non-MDY siyum from Masechtas Chagiga, and I ended up inspiring 4 more people to start learning the Daf Yomi just by being there. And I too was inspired to keep learning daily. So please get yourself out there and make the siyum. He's 100% right. There's a lot of guys that are hide in the back guys. They're shy. They have anxiety from public appearance. You got to get out there. Not you, Rabbi Miller. You're not a hide in the back. What? What are you saying?
No, just saying shy from you.
Shy from me. No, they. And I say this again, I once called out the shy guys, and when they made this beautiful Shabbat breakfast for my son in Borough Park, countless people came over and said, I've never been to something like this. I'm only here because you asked me to come and get out of my shyness. One after another. So if you're shy, get out there, go to the siyum and inspire other people just by being there. You don't realize, just by being there, you inspire other people. It was a pleasure seeing you in real life. Oh, who is this? Sorry, Noah Goldman. Mazel tov to the whole family in this upcoming siyum, Noah Goldman from Chicago. And now, from Moshie Horn, London. He came here the other day, and I didn't have a chance to say hello to him or goodbye to him. He just disappeared. So Baruch Hashem, he sent us an email. It was a pleasure seeing you in real life with so much enthusiasm every single day and great charts. I don't think I would have been able to end Yevamos without you. Hooked up since Megillah. Thank you so much. Moshie, not Mordche. Moshie Schreiber, London. I guess they dropped the R in London. Yeah? Not Mamish?
Chassidish way of saying it.
All right, yeah, I know. So something interesting happened today. I got a $10,000 sponsor for the kollel, and I'm going to say his name. Not his name, but what he wanted to say. Zechus for Shidduchim for my nieces and Zechus for my boys to have a Geschmack in Torah. Immediately afterwards, Yosef Bilyak told me that somebody else sponsored the month. Leilu Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. I'm going to pick this one over the other one. I'm going to kick the, because it's less words. Leilu Zechariah ben Moshe. So I told, I'm going to write to this tzaddik that sponsored that thank you, but no thank you. Or if he wants to sponsor another month or something else, Givaldi. Parnasah Hashavua, Lzchus, maybe, but I have to ask Rishos. They don't know that, so I don't, let them figure it out together. If they want to do both, Givaldi. Lzchus Shidduch LeYeshua Eliyob and Tzipora. The reason I don't want to do that is because my chavrus is going to take another 10 guys in the koil. And then I'm going to be stuck for the next one. Lzchus Shidduch LeYeshua Eliyob, and I'm kidding. Lzchus Shidduch LeYeshua Eliyob and Tzipora. Lzchus parnasah Torah LeMoshie Yaakov and Shoshana. Parnasah Chodesh number 1, Ahron Fraiman. Lzchus continued parnasah siyadta dishmaya nasal the rebellion. Parnasah Chodesh number 2. By the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best segulah. Parnasah Chodesh number 3. Refuah Shilayma for Yevamos, Aviya Bashifra Chaya. Parnasah Chodesh number 4. The MDY Family, Leilu Nishmas, Shimshon Weiss, Shimshon ben Meshulam Dov. Today's sponsors, David and Denise, Joseph and family. For the Yartzah, in the crowd. Where is he? Oh, here he is. Shalom Aleichem. How are you? Where are you from? London. Shalom Aleichem. For the first Yartzah of my father, Moshe ben Yosef, Chav Zayin Sivan today. Yeah, your father's Yartzah, and you're here in Eretz Yisrael for the whole Yartzah, and you came there. I hope you didn't go to the Koisel yet. After, good. Joel Mizrahi for Rabbi Jachter and Hillel Jachter. Is that how you pronounce the name? First visit to MDY for Hillel's bar mitzvah trip. Now, when was your bar mitzvah exactly? Really? You look like you're 15, 16 years old. Beautiful. How long are you doing the daf? Since the beginning. Brachas?
Get over here.
Get over here. That's right. Get over here. Come on. Really? Hillel from Teaneck, New Jersey. Unbelievable. Shalom Aleichem. What a Lzchus from Brachas. Over 900 daf.
Huh?
How many did you miss?
Well, actually, because of you.
It's my fault, of course. No. What happened? Let me hear.
Say that you should always
jump ahead.
Exactly. So I did that for a couple months.
Awesome.
But
yeah.
But in between, I would fall and I would write it down, whatever. And I realized, you know what? I'm just gonna go all the way back from the beginning. So I went from Sukkah, the end of Sukkah, while you guys were at Moed.
This is my fault. I'll take it.
So now I'm at Chagiga.
But are you with us in Yevamos?
No.
Smart. So let me tell you something. Skip Yevamos. Skip Yevamos, start Ksubas, okay? You'll finish Chagiga.
I'm not skipping anything.
You're not a real Talmud. You're not a real. Get back to your seat. Get back. Wow. You sure you from the beginning? Wow. That's crazy. All right. I think it's time to start learning Torah here. We are holding Daf Kuf Tes Amud Beis. Like 19 lines from the bottom. So we have like this. Rabbi Isai, we're middle of a story where two brothers, the two Baldwin brothers, married two sisters. They're very similar in the way they dress and look, but they're different sizes. The reason is because one is a Ketana and one is a Gdoila. Again, two brothers married two sisters. You understand what the problem is. The problem is that if one of the sisters falls liyibum, you can't be married to two sisters, a chois isha. But one of them is only married midirabanan, one of them is married midiraisa. The Ketana is only dirabanan, and the Gdoila is diraisa. Now, if this is what happens, look what happens over here. If the one married to the Gdoila, the diraisa one, goes bye-bye. So now, the Gdoila falls liyibum midiraisa, and the rest from Aleichem, I missed you. Wow, get over here. Where were you? Okay, very shy. Yeah, wow, I missed you. I didn't miss you. I was asking you about you. Actually, fine. So, what happens is the Gdoila falls liyibum, but the problem is that there's a sister there. Now, what do you do with the sister? If you divorce the sister, the little one, then the big one becomes a chois grusha. She's the sister of the divorcee, also a problem. And if Ruvain gives chalitza to the small one, then because so what do you do? So Rabbi Gamliel says you wait, and if she does miyun and she annuls the whole marriage to begin with retroactively, then Reuben can go ahead and be miyabem. But if not, listen to this. It's in the Mishnah. We learned it. If not, then when the Ktana becomes a Gdoila, she's able to kick the other Gdoila out. It's a huge chiddush. The Gdoila feli ibo midayraisa. She has a zika. She has a bond with Reuven. 6 years later, or 6 days later, it doesn't matter when, the little one becomes a Gdoila, and she kicks out the other Gdoila. How does that work? How? Midayraisa, the other one is first. Listen to this chiddush according to Rashi. My time to Rabbi Gamliel, how does it work? Mishum de Kosovar, is it? Here's the problem. The Ktana is the Rabbanon. And when she becomes a Gdoila, she becomes the Raisa. But that happened way after Leah on the bottom was already Zakuk to her husband. So perhaps the pshat is Mishum de Kosovar Kiddush Ktana. Now, Hillel, you have no idea what we're talking about, right? Because you didn't do any Yevamos. You don't know what Yibum is, you don't know what Chalitza is, Sarah, this, that, nothing. Chaim Snow's in the house, by the way, with somebody who doesn't want to be a shy in the back, the hide in the back guy. I'm asking you not to be a hide in the back guy. Okay. By the Siyam, you weren't such a high. Okay, fine. Let me show you. Is it because the Kiddushin of the youngster are hanging in the wings, and when she becomes mature and a Gdoila, the Kiddushin become a Doiraisa together with her. As she becomes a Gdoila, her Kiddushin that were the Rabbanan become Doiraisa. Even if he had no relations with her. So, according to Rashi, listen to this unbelievable chiddush, which needs a lot of explanation, but it's Daf Yomi. We'll leave that for the yeshiva guys for months. They could sit on this. How exactly does this work? When she becomes a Gdoila, retroactively 3 years ago when he gave her the Kiddushin, and that everybody admits is only the Rabbanan Kiddushin, it flips into a Doiraisa Kiddushin, and therefore that Ktana was actually married Doiraisa before her sister's husband died, and her sister fell Yibum and Zika. That's how Rashi learns. Other Rishonim don't understand what's going on. How can you flip a Rabbanan Kiddushin into a Doiraisa Kiddushin years later to be affected retroactively? Now, there's another problem here. Well, Taisus argues, but according to Taisus, how does Taisus understand? Taisus has to understand that, yes, you'd think that the Zika came first. Taisus says no. Since he made a t'nai sort of with this girl, he gave her money and he said, it should be chal when you become a Gdoila. So since the t'nai was before the Zika, that t'nai has the power to kick the Zika out. That's how Taisus learns. Okay. It's an amazing stuff going on here, but we move on. So is that the pshat? Is the pshat that the Kiddushin becomes retroactive, a Doiraisa Kiddushin, according to Rashi? If no, the Kiddushin that he did when she was a youngster is the Rabbanan Kiddushin, nothing happens with that. But when she becomes an adult and he's Mekadesh her again, now he has the ability to kick out Leah, the Yevama, just with a new Kiddushin. And that's what the Gemara says, yeah, that's the pshat. But if that is the case, you must create a Kiddushin. You must have Bia. You can't just rely on a Kiddushin that you did 5 years ago. We're starting fresh. Fresh, there has to be a Bia here. So, Omarlei, so Rav tells him, Hainu time of the Gamliel, exactly like the second pshat. You're asking me, how is it possible if the youngster becomes an adult, she kicks out her sister? Because he holds that you could just have relations with one of the sisters and it kicks out the Yevama. The Kiddushin is mevatel the Zika. You hear? You create a new Kiddushin, even though the Zika came before the Kiddushin has the power to get rid of the zika, the bond that you have midiraisa. But on condition, he baal in, they have to have relations, and Rishonim discuss, how does anybody in the world know if there was a bia or not? Okay, they saw them going, b'msiyachet, that's enough. Or Rav Sheshes. This is the third time in our Masechta, and he's basically, I didn't look it up again, I forgot what I said last time, but I think Rav Sheshes is the only one in Shas, or from the only ones that uses this kind of language. When he realized that Rav made a mistake, he was such a fan of Rav, he realized Rav can't make mistakes. So therefore, what happens is, he says, if Rav made a mistake, it has to be that Rav was dozing off. He was in a semi-conscious state, and he said something that didn't make sense, and he didn't have the time to regret it and take it back because he fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, he forgot that he said it. Amina kinayim v'shochev Rav. It must be that he was falling asleep when he said this. Why? The Tanya, because we learned in the name of Rav Mekadesh Zaktana. If somebody gives kiddushin to a minor, the kiddushet luyim, her kiddushin are hanging there. Might luyin, what does it mean? It means that they're hanging until she becomes an adult. Doesn't say anything about bia, it just says you give the kiddushin then, and that's it. You don't have to be boiled. Why does Rav say you have to be boiled? Omalei Rav and Berei, the Rav Nachman, ha milsa dektano mitlatalya v'kaimo ibalin iloi ba'aloi. So he explains, no, it's not the pshat that halachically it's hanging, the kiddushin are hanging, and it's waiting for something to happen. Mitlatalya, it's hanging means in her mind. How does she view her marriage to this guy? What she says is, the Amra hu odif minoi v'ana adif minei. This big shot thinks that he's better than me. Why is he better than me? He could force me out of the marriage with what? With a get. A man doesn't have to ask the woman for rishus to give a get. And nowadays, there's never a get issue. But halachically, you just get. You know what? I also have one up on him. I can just do miyun. I don't even need a get. I can just say 2 words to him. I'm out of here. Marriage over. But she's thinking in her head, mitlat talya. I'm waiting until I become an adult so I can lock this marriage in. That it's serious. B'soverav. That's it. So that's what it means. Okay, fine. No big kasha from that brisa. Now the Gemara asks a number of times the same question from different places. B'soverav ibal in iloi ba'aloi. Does Rav indeed think and hold that in order for the Ketana's marriage to be a deraisa, he has to consummate the marriage? And if he doesn't, it's not chal. What if you have a Ketana, a minor, who didn't perform miyun, vigdila, and she became an adult, va'amda v'nises, and she got married to somebody else? Rav Omar, eino tzricho get misheni. Rav says she doesn't require a get from the second one. Why? Why does she need a get? Because the first marriage is a perfect marriage, even though there was no bia. She's a Ketana. What happened? He gave her a ring when she was 10 years old. But nothing, no follow through, no bia afterwards. Nevertheless, he says, don't worry about the second guy. The second guy is nothing. Why is he nothing? Because he tried to marry a woman that's already married. But what happened? How did they become married? The kiddushin he did when she was 10 years old is only the Rabbanan. So you see over here, Rav Omar in the tzricho get misheni. Rav is of the opinion you don't need bia. Why over here now Sugi says you need bia? Shmuel Amar tzricho get misheni, and Shmuel argues with Rav, and he says you need a get. Kuf Yud Amud Aleph on top. My love came perfect time. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Shimon Pepper from Montebello near Muncie. Shkoyach for coming. Wow. Who's the kid?
My grandson.
Grandson. Vivaldi. But just in time. Daf Kuf Yud Amud Aleph. My love, the ball. So it says over here, according to Rav, you need to be boiled. Over here it says you don't. Loy the ball. Well, wait a minute. I thought you're going to answer that. Why did I think that he was boiled? Because we have to think about Shmuel. I anticipated you're going to say, no, he's boiled. So he's boiled, so then how does Shmuel say that she needs a get? She's 100% married to the first guy. Why does she need a get from the second one? Eid the Baal, my time at the Shmuel. That's Kiddushin Rishonim Uboyel. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. What happened? He's married to this Tana for 2 years. Yes, they had relations after she was a Gdoila. But he never had intent. Rabbi Isai, going back. Yiddishkeit is about the das, the intent. Yeah, you have a guy that goes to work, two firm guys, go to the same job. They're both lawyers. One goes and has intent. He's going to work so he can pay the tuition for his children in yeshiva, and his whole day is about Torah and Akash Baruch Hu and Yiddishkeit. And the other guy is thinking, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to make a partner, I'm going to make a lot of money. This guy made it, he did the right thing. This guy, never, he missed the boat just because he didn't have the right intent. Yeah? So over here, the same thing. The guy has relations with his wife who turned the Gdoila, but he never had intent to be in Kaddisher. So it doesn't work. And Memela, the second guy, could sneak in and grab her, and therefore he needs a get. Says the Gemara, this idea that you have a weak marriage from a Ketana that turned into a Gdoila, Be'ezer Hashem, for whatever reason, I don't know, you see on the screen, you have the Gemara, it's underlined, on YouTube it doesn't show up. I had an idea I got to talk to you about. Should just record it separately and let Yosef figure out where to put it. But for some reason it doesn't show up. That's how it has to be. At least that, or maybe even the Tzur Sadaf, we have to figure it out. Anyway, or both. Akoponim. This idea that you have a Ketana, which is not such a great marriage, that turns into a marriage. We already have this machlokes between Rav and Shmuel, what you're supposed to do. Ditmar, same. We already had this machlokes. Ditmar, kichat nai, b'kontastam. You have a person that gives kiddushin to a woman and says, on condition you don't have any tenoim, any mumim. You're not missing any legs or anything like that. And then, v'kontastam, he goes ahead and he doesn't care about the Tanai. He doesn't care that she has Nadarim on her and she said all sorts of things. She's not going to eat this and she's not going to do this. Or worse, she's missing, I don't know what. She has a big mum. Rav get. Rav says, the second guy, you need a get. The Shmuel get. What happened? Is it a Kiddushin or not a Kiddushin? It's the same kind of question by us. You have a Ketana that goes into a Gdoila. It's a weak marriage going into a Gdoila. And over here also, it's a weak marriage. What happened? Is the Tnai Kayim, not Naim? Now, the Gemara explains, get. Why do you need to get this guy, the first guy, the guy, he got married, he made a Tanai, but the fact that he's with his wife, we have to assume he's Michael everything. Yeah? Huh? Yeah. Obviously, there's other, I don't know if we have to stick it in there, but no. So if he's with her, so obviously he doesn't want to be stamazana, and he has intent for kiddushin. He made a tnai before, he's Michael at tnai. There's a famous, because it's Motzei Shabbos, we have all night long. Rav Shimshon Pinkos, the famous idea in Yiddishkeit, Nahamadi Kisufa. Why does Hashem put us on this world? If He loves us so much, He should just give us straight Gan Eden. Let's put us in there. What is it? Why do we have to go through this whole thing? So the famous answer is Nahamadi Kisufa. People will be embarrassed. Or just show up there, get freebies. We want to work for it. So as Rav Shimshon Pinkos, I don't understand. He gives us all the tools in the world. He gives us everything we need. And then we're not going to be embarrassed. What? You give a guy a meal in a restaurant. You do this, and then if you eat the meal in the restaurant, I'll give you a free house. Okay, but you gave me a free meal. That's also embarrassing. They gave me a free meal. You gave me this. Where did the busha run away? Everything that Akash Baruch gave us, the Torah, everything is free. Everything is the busha. The whole thing is a busha. So he says Geval. The answer is better than the kasha, maybe, if you don't understand the kasha. But he says a beautiful mashal. He says that there's a very poor girl, an orphan, Yisayma. So one guy goes ahead and he says, listen, here's $20,000. I want you to use this money to get married and to make a chasam. So she's very embarrassed. She didn't do anything to earn it. Guy came over there. She doesn't know what to do, to take it, not to take it. Another guy comes over and says, I want to marry you. And he marries her, and he's very wealthy, and she lives a whole life. So the woman that he marries, obviously, no busha. What busha? She's more demanding. Give me more. What are you doing? Don't spend your money. She starts telling him what to do. Same thing says Rav Shimshon Pinkus with Klal Yisrael and Baruch Hu gives us because he loves us. So he gave us the Torah, which is the best way. The more he gives us, the more we have that connection with him, that love, and Memela, then we go into Olam Haba as a wife, as somebody that's close. Oh, now we feel comfortable. The closer you are with somebody or HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the less busha you have. Nobody has a busha to go over to the father and say, hey, give me money, I need this. And nobody has a busha. You have busha from a neighbor, from somebody you don't know. Okay. So over here you have this idea of achuli achli litnoi. He feels close to her. Oh, close, fine. I made a condition with you. Forget the condition. Amoichel. Ushmul Amar, Eino tzricha imenu get. You don't need a get when there was a tnai called a boyel adas kiddushin or shoinim hu boyel. So he made the kiddushin when he gave her the ring. He said on condition that you don't have any mumim, you don't have any nidarim, anything, and there was. So forget it. He's mevatel the whole thing. So upon him, we have two machloikesim, the same machloikes seems like double. Why did they argue on both? Now, this is Akdama to Masechtas Ksubas because Rashi brings a girsa from Ksubas, but in our Gemara it's written a little differently. So it's a good thing that we remember that less than 2 weeks from now we're starting brand new Masechta Ksubas, one of the most geschmackte Masechtas in the world. Every yeshiva guy loves Masechtas Ksubas. Besides Hillel, who's going to be learning Masechtas Yevamos next week. Says the Gemara, V'itmar b'ha, tzricha. Di'itmar ahi, different girsa. Fine. Di'itmar ahi, if it only says the case with the Tanai, which is a weak Kiddushin, b'hi kama rav, mishum de'ikitna, became in the bal, achletna, it's about the Tanai, and he's moichel the Tanai. So that's why you need to get. But by Ktana that grew up, maybe he admits that's different. And if you'd say it just by the machlokes by Ktana, fine. Each one is a little bit closer. One is closer to Rav, one is closer to Shmuel. Another question. Again, we're talking about a Ktana that becomes a Gdoila, and Rav says, well, we're going according to the Pshat. One Pshat was an incredible Chiddush. The Gemara didn't stick with that one. That when she turns into Gdoila, her Kiddushin she did 3 years ago retroactively turns into the Eraisa. That the Gemara didn't go with. The Gemara is saying, no, we're starting fresh, and she requires a Bia. But did Rav really say that? There's a story in the town Narash. Vikadisha kshiktana v'gadla. He gave her kiddushin. He didn't marry her. He gave her a ring when she was a ktana, and she became a g'dayla. She became an adult. Voisvei abekursaya. So here's the picture again. This is Apuria. He put her on one of these kala things, a chariot, whatever it is. Maybe not exactly like that, but he put her on that. So the Gemara understands a what?
A palanquin.
Who?
That's what it's called.
Palanquin? Yeah, spell that, doctor. Okay, you got it wrong. That's not how he spelled it in Panovich. So they're schlepping her on this chair. Comes a menuvel on the way to the chasana. He says, you know what? He gave you 3 candies, I'm giving you a whole bag. Yeah, come to my house. So she left. She went. V'Rav Roina v'Rav Chananel Talmid the Rav have a Yehosam. Now you have to understand that the Talmidim of Rav, obviously everything they say and do goes according to Rav. And they were there. They said, no, you don't need a get. But where's the bia? Why not? You shouldn't need a... The answer is, because obviously you see, you don't need bia. So, do you need bia or you don't? Amar Papa, no raya from there. In Arish was different. There's no raya from her sitting on this couch that she wasn't nival yet. That's not how it went then. There was bia before, and then they did a party. Different over there. Rashi Omar, who also shloi kahagen. Lefichach asu boy shloi kahagen. No, you're right. Halachically, she shouldn't require a get from the second guy. He actually is the real husband. Why? Because they never consummated the marriage, the first guy, and he chapped her, great. But what happened was, Chachamim got upset at him. He did a boo-boo. You don't do that. She's on the way to the chasen in a limo. You don't chap her. Because he chapped her, Chachamim went ahead and destroyed his marriage. We say, Harayat Mukudeshes Li Kedas Moshie Yisrael. I'm being Mekadesh you the way Chachamim wanted me to Mekadesh, so therefore they could go into my Kiddushin and annul my Kiddushin if they want. Hefker Bezin Hefker, etc. So, okay, fine, we'll finish the sugya. I can understand the idea of hefker, bezin hefker. Chacham have the right to take away money, monetary stuff from people, take away her kiddushin from her, take her ring away from her. But what do you do about bia? Since he said Kedas Moshie Yisrael, they took his bia and they said it's not a kinyan bia, it's a bia of znos. Fine. By the way, who was Shloi Kohagen? Yevamos Shloi Kohagen? You say the story, I said it once before, but everybody forgot it already. There was a guy who was on his deathbed, a shchimera, and he needed to get his money to his wife who was in a different country. Let's say he went for treatment in the hospital, and the treatments didn't work. He's in a different country. He's lying in his bed over there. So you see some guy, so the guy looks, like Jewish a little bit. He says, do me a favor. Take my money and bring it to my wife. So the guy says, how much are you going to pay me? So you want to get paid? Okay, I heard you're going anyways. No, I'm going in, but I want you to pay me. He says, okay, I'll give you 5%. He says, let me think about it. He comes back to him and says, 10%. The kitzer, before the guy knows it, he wants 20%. He sees he only has 2 days to live. If he doesn't make a deal with this guy, he says, you know what? Take whatever you want. Let me write in a shtar. Give my wife whatever you want. That's what he wrote. Those were the words. Give my wife whatever you want. So the guy is all excited. He's going to have 20%. And he takes the whole sack of money, $1 million. He goes on the plane. He's there. On the way on the plane, he says, wait a minute. The guy said, give her whatever I want. 30% sounds, I'll take 30%. Why not? 70, 30. So I'm doing a lot of work. An hour into the flight, he's a shtickle. 60, 40, 50, 50. Before he knows it, by the time he lands, he's giving her 5%. 5%. He comes to her with a sack of money. He says, listen, here, your husband said, give my wife whatever you want. So I'm giving you. I think it's fair if you take 5%, I take 95. So she said, what are you talking about? You crazy with this? My husband, that? Let's go to the Rav. Go to the Rav. Rav says, how much do you want? She says, I want 95. She says, it says in the shtar, give her whatever you want. So give her the 95%. So give her 95 and you take 5. He acted Shaloi Kahagen, so they did back to him Shaloi Kahagen. This is a certain side like that. Doesn't mean that the rabbi really read it like that, but he saw this guy is a menovel. A menovel, you treat like a menovel. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Now, Omer Rav Yehuda Mishmuel. Halacha Kireb Eliezer. We have a 3-way machlokes in the Mishnah and Daf Kuftes Amud Aleph. Again, the story was you have the 2 brothers married to 2 sisters. One is a Gdoila, one is a Ktana, as you see on the screen. And then one of the brothers married to the Gdoila goes bye-bye. Now what do? So, one shita is you teach her to do miyun, and when the little one does miyun, then the only one left over is the adult, and then you can be mekayim the mitzvah deraisa of yibum. Then we had Reb Gamliel. We just discussed Reb Gamliel at length. You don't teach her, but if she does it, and then if she doesn't do it, then she turns into Gdoila. And Reb Yeshua says there's nothing you can do over here. Everybody loses. Both women have to be divorced. Get out of here. Shalom Yisrael. You give a get, and you give chalitza. Okay. Says the Gemara over here, The halacha is like Omer Rabbi Shmuel, halacha k'Reb Eliezer. That you teach her to do miyun. V'chein Omer Rabbi Lazar, halacha k'Reb Eliezer. So remember this, because the Gemara says it over here. The Gemara is going to say the same thing on Amud Beis, something else. Halacha k'Reb Eliezer. V'chein Omer Rabbi Lazar, halacha k'Reb Eliezer. Okay. The official Mishnah is sponsored by Nishmas, Reb Meir Yechiel ben Reb Avram Zechron Levracha. Mi shayanasi l'shtei yisoyim ktanos. A person who's married to two yisoyim, two ktanos. What does that mean? Two marriages that are the Rabbanon, v'meis, and he dies. Biyaso yichalitzos shalachas mehem poiteres sarasa. You could do bia, you could be miyabim. You can do chalitza. When do you do chalitza? You can't do chalitza to ktana. You do it too. You make sure that she becomes a gdoila. The point is, since they're both the Rabbanan, they're on the same level. They're exactly the same type of person. You do a chalitza, and both of them go bye-bye. Not literally, but yeah. V'chein shtei chershois. So now, we just said by a ktana, you have two options, either yibum or chalitza. And when the Mishnah says v'chein shtei chershois, the Gemara is going to say, I don't mean those two options. I mean the same kind of halacha applies, but only yibum. There's no chalitza by chereshes. Again, a cheresh means a person who can't hear and can't speak. So halachically, they have the halacha of a shaita. And therefore, their kiddushin is only midrabanan, same thing as a ktana. Abia achas mem, sorry. V'chein shtei chereshes, ktana v'cheresh, sorry. V'chein shtei chereshes, you do either yibum or chalitza, and the Gemara is going to say it's not chalitza. Now, ktana v'chereshes, what if you have two derabbanans, but two types? One is a ktana, one is a chereshes. Now it changes. Ein bias achas men poiteres terasa. One does not pater the other. Why? Says Rashi also something that needs a lot of explaining. He says, we don't know who he loves more. What do I care? Because whoever he wants more, says Rashi, is his wife. I don't know. Somebody has good pshat here. I don't know. Rashi says, not me. Okay? Yeah. See in the Gemara. Says the Gemara, and we don't have it in the whatever, no pshat over there. But if you have a doiraisa, or pikachas. By the way, I'll just tell you this. How do you draw a chireshes? Anybody? How do you draw a chireshes? I wanted to draw a chireshes. I called up Avi. Like, do I put a hearing aid? It's not so nice. What do I do? Put an X on her ear? What exactly do you do? I'm going to show you and introduce to you a new character, a boisai, something special. I think the Eilim will appreciate this. It took some chachma. This is 1:30 in the morning with Yoshi. This is a pikeach. He has everything going for him. He has ears, he has a mouth, everything. This is a cheresh. He's holding his ears and his mouth in his hand. Both. He doesn't have any. This is the pikachas. And this is not such a pikachas. She's holding her ears and her mouth in her hand. Okay. So, pikachas v'chireshes. You have a deraisa with a derabanan. One is a deraisa marriage, one is the rabbanon. Bias pikachas piteres achireshes. The yibum of the pikachas paters the chireshes. Then bias achiresh piteres is a pikachas. Obviously, yibum with the deraisa works for the derabanan, but if you do yibum with the derabanan, it doesn't work for the deraisa. G'daylo ktana, again, a deraisa and a derabanan. The g'daylo is deraisa, ktana is derabanan. Bias ha'g'daylo piteres ktana. If he does yibum to the g'daylo, it's good enough. Vein bias ktana piteres ha'g'daylo. Says the Gemara, it seems like from the Mishnah that you could do yibum and chalitza to a deaf mute. V'chiresh is bas chalitza yivasnan cheresh enechlat v'chiresh cholza v'chiretz min hakatan. Whether the man is a deaf mute or the woman, chalitza is a psula. Why? Because it says in the pasuk, and we had this, va'amra geri va'amra me'i v'amilakim lach Hashem Yisrael lo yavayabmi. There's certain psukim, as you saw in this skit we did over here, you have to say psukim. And if you can't say, you're mute, you can't say, so you're not in the parsha. I'm going to ask the Oilam a question. Everybody should know the answer. But we learned that you don't have to say the psukim. If you miss the psukim, it's okay as long as you spit. So what's the answer? If a person knows how to talk and he forgot the psukim, it's okay. But if a person can't talk, he's not in the parsha at all, it's not okay. Great. Abyah. When it talks about a chireshes, we're only saying that what you should do is yibum, not chalitza. And that's very important to the whole sugya, and especially tomorrow, that you could mess up a chireshes big time. She gets stuck without ever getting married because you don't have the option of chalitza. The only option you have with her is yibum. That's it. And get afterwards is fine. Why? Why is get okay? She doesn't have das. Because he needs das, not her. Rav Omar or Rabba Omar filu tema chalitza. So Rabba says a bomb, drops a bomb here, and that's what the Gemara is going to talk about for the rest of the night. Because we're going to 1 o'clock today. He makes a distinction between the chireshas. Kam b'chireshas mikara. If this woman in our Mishnah is deaf mute, 23:11, I get it. If she's deaf mute from the beginning of her life, then what? Then it's okay. She could use chalitza. There's a difference if she was with it and then later on she became a deaf mute. You hear this? Since she got married through sign language, so you divorce her with sign language. She doesn't need to say va'amra chafatzti. She could go like this and do whatever the guy in the African funeral over there. Yeah, you can do that, and it works. Why? Because that's how she got married. The way she got married, that's how she goes out. But that Nelson Mandela's funeral. Yeah. Says Gemara. Now, to explain that a little bit, just so we chop what's going on here. What do you mean? But chalitza doesn't work. No, she's only married midrabanan. When she got married, she was the rabbanan kiddushin because she's deaf mute. Deaf mute can't get married midiraisa. So rabbanan have the power to say the chalitza works for her. She's only married the rabbanan. She could actually walk away. So rabbanan said, you know what? Let's give her a chalitza. She got married like that. Fine. But if she was 100%, and then later on she became chereshes, no. Why? The ma'akva b'kriya, she needs to be able to read. Abaya. So now, what's interesting, everybody turn to Daf Kuf Yud Beis Amud Beis. You got to see this. If you have it, there is a massive Mishnah. Really, really large Mishnah. And lucky for us, we are going to do a lot of that Mishnah tonight. And when we get to Daf Kuf Yud Beis Amud Beis, we'll be very familiar with it. Abaya asks 4 questions basically from this Mishnah to prove that there is no difference when she became deaf mute. Whether she was born like that, whether she was before the wedding, after the wedding, there's no difference. There's no chalitza across the board. There's no chalitza, and the Gemara agrees. There's no chalitza. At the end of the day, there's no chalitza. But it takes 4 questions to get to that thing. So let's do it. And they're all the same, basically. The same idea, all questions. And they're the same story, but with the variations. If you look at the screen, you'll see there's like 20 charts just like this. And you can just leave it like that. What happened? Okay, like this. Fine. And just variations, agabe variations. Okay. So here's Abaya. Abaya. V'chireshes mikar bas chalitza. Is it possible to say that if she was like this to begin with, she could perform chalitza? But not. It says in the Mishnah Daf Kuf Yud Beis Amud Beis. There are 2 brothers. There's a pikeach, he's able to hear and speak in the cheresh. And they're married to 2 women, not sisters. Because later on we're going to have the identical case with sisters. And Rashi says, the pikeach marries the pikachas, it makes a lot of sense, and the cheresh to cheresh. By the way, Erev Shabbos, I didn't have all these drawings, so I made my own pikachas. Now, if you look closely, the pikachas has a mustache. It's possible sometimes, the top one. Why? Because I took the hat from the woman, and I took her shoes, and then later on, I'm like, whoa, this doesn't look so good. So I right away messaged Yoshi. He was making early Shabbos. I'm talking about, half hour before Shabbos. I said, dude, help me out here. So Motzei Shabbos, he sends me like 6 things, and of course it comes 10 minutes before Shir. But Baruch Hashem, I was able to here. This is what the new improved one looks like. This is a pikachas. No mustache, no that. Okay, fine. So what happened? The cheresh goes bye-bye, as you can see in this picture. The cheresh married to the chereshes, what kind of marriage is it? The Rabbanon. So the Rabbanon woman falls liibum to a deraisa man. Okay. Meis cheresh, there's no sisters, there's nothing going on. But meis cheresh bal chereshes. So the cheresh dies. Mayase pikeach bal pikachas. What should the top guy do? Now, is there chalitza here? Is there an option to chereshes? No. So the only option is kindness. He could be miyabemer, and then afterwards he could divorce her. Meis pikeach. What happens if the pikeach guy goes bye-bye? He's the husband of the pikachas mayasa cherish bal chireshes. Now he has a little bit of a problem because as a pikachas that falls to him, he is only the rabbanon kind of guy, but it's a zikya d'oraisa. He cannot do chalitza. Why can't he do chalitza? Because he's a cheresh. Cheresh cannot do chalitza. The only thing he can do is yibum. Could he give her a get? No. Why can't he give her a get, Benny? He's a shaita. So no get. My love, the chiresh is mikara. Oh, says Abaya, I have a raya that what? That even in the case when she's a chireshes, to begin with, vuktanik kindness in Hillel Zand. You see a raya against Rabbah that there's no chalitza to any kind of chireshes. Doesn't matter when she became a chireshes. Loi, not a good raya. Both of them, the chireshes used to be normal. She had good hearing, she was able to speak. And her husband also, they were both on the same thing, and they both became chershim later on in life. Okay. Sponsored by Moshie Horn in honor of Hillel Zand, sponsored by Nisano, Lzchus, Ruchni, and Gashmi from Murad Nakash, introducing me to MDY. Toshma, another case, same kind of raya. Shnei achim pikchim, nisum shtei nachriyos. Here you go, 2 smart guys. Now, the only thing that changed is that the bottom guy is also a pikeach. I didn't switch him out to another one, but fine, different time. When we get to Yud Beis, hopefully everything will be straightened out. But one of them is not a shaita, one of them is a shaita. Meis pikeach bal chireshes. So the pikeach who's married to the chireshes dies. So now we have a chireshes who's only the rabbanon. You can't perform chalitza. She falls to the pikeach. Koines, what does he do? He's miyabemer v'imrotza roitza loitzi yoitzi. Meis pikeach bal pikachas. What if the deraisa one woman falls liibum? Mayas pikeach bal chireshes oy choyletz oy miyabem. He can perform chalitza. My love, midehu pikeach mikara. Hinami chireshes mikara. So going back to the first case, it says in this case, let's go back. This case, the chireshes. The only thing you can do is yibum. And there's no chalitza. Since he's normal, he's a regular person, and he's always normal, he's born normal, he didn't become normal later on in his life, he's always he not mikara. So the chayra, they're equal. He was always normal, she was always a chiresh. It's great. Here's a raya that you don't do chalitza even if you are a deaf mute from day one. This is more mid-year. What kind of raya is that? Hukidisa. He's normal from the day he's born. But Hukidisa, and she became chiresh later on in life. No good raya. Eisvei, another raya. Shnei achim echad b'gerech v'echad chiresh. So you have to go here. Oh, the b'kerech and the chiresh. Nisum shnei achayos. Oh, pay attention. Now the only thing that changed is that they are sisters. You see? It says in small words in pink, they are sisters. 2 brothers married 2 sisters. One is a bikachas, one is a chireshes. Now, we're throwing another wrench into the whole story. What's the difference if they're sisters? Now we have a problem of achos isha. You can't marry, you can't be miyabim your wife's sister. So what do? And where is it a problem? One is a deaf mute, one isn't. Meis cheresh bal chereshes. The cheresh goes bye-bye. We don't have to say bye-bye by him. He dies. Potato head died. Whew, what a relief. We should have done the whole Yevamos like this, no? Meis cheresh bal chereshes. Mayas b'ker bal pekachas. Teitze mishul machois isha. Now, the chireshes, she's only the Rabbanon, so she needs to leave. She has to go. Why? Because Pikeach and Pikachas have a very strong marriage, and she's a sister of the wife. The pink is the sister of the green. Green is first, she's a Pikachas, she's in there, so pink should go out without anything. Meis Pikeach bal Pikachas, but what if it's the reverse? The Pikeach guy goes bye-bye. He dies. So now, what does the Rabbanan guy do? Listen to this. He has to divorce his wife. Could the Cheresh give the Pikachas Chalitza? No. Why can't he marry her? Because he just divorced his wife. So, fine. Says the Gemara, you'll say, we're talking about a pikeach. The guy that died was a pikeach and then afterwards became a cheresh. If that's the case, he can't divorce his wife. After his marriage, she became a deaf mute. He could give her a get. Why? Because you don't need her das. Even though she doesn't have das, you could give her a get. Nishtatis, if she became a shaita, lo yoitzi. Why can't you divorce a shaita? She doesn't need das. You're right, she doesn't need das. Says Rashi, we don't want shaitim unmarried in the street. They don't know how to protect themselves. So in order, we need a man to protect her. She'll be mufker to who knows what. That's exactly the Rabban. What? Ein benois Yisrael efker. Give out. Tustus lo yavor kan. Okay, that's a different story. Was not nischar sheyoytzi nishtatis lo yoytzi. Nischar shu. Oh, this is the halach we're looking for. What if he becomes a shaita or nishtata? Lo yoytzi lames. He doesn't have the power to give a get. Ela b'cheresh mikara. So you want to say that just like when he got into this marriage, he was deaf mute, but he's able to get into marriage. How? With sign language. That's why he could get out. Kitzer, the whole Mishnah is going to be the same kind of person. We're talking about people that they were always in the same category, the same thing. She was a cheresh all the way from the beginning. She's a chereshes, and the sisters are cheresh, and nachri is everything, the whole Mishnah. With nagabi nachri is koines in cheres light. And one of the cases is when they're not related, you only do yibam and no chalitza, even though they were deaf from day one. So you see, not like Rabbah, that Rabbah says there's a difference. Deaf from day one, not deaf. Here you see there's no difference. Ishtik. So Rabbah didn't know what to answer. Why do you ask from this? At the end of the day, you could say the whole Mishnah is not the same category. Part of the Mishnah is like this, part of the Mishnah is like that. Part of the Mishnah, she was deaf from day one. Part of the Mishnah, she's not different. He could, if he wants to be doich like you. Different parts of the Mishnah. It would have been much better to answer from the first part of the Mishnah, which you skipped, Abaye. It's the first part that says Taisis in the Mishnah. It's stronger, it's better, everything is good. The what? Shnei achim chershin. Okay. Basically, I'll tell you real quickly. We're going to say 6 cases, they're all identical. Why? No, they're not identical. But the point is, it's all the Rabbanan. Okay, if both husbands are chershim, no matter who they marry, the marriage is a the Rabbanan marriage. So they could be married to 2 pikchais. They could be married to 2 chershais. They could be married to 1 and 1. It doesn't matter. They are the Rabbanan. And what if the wives are chershim? The same thing. So we keep on going. 2 chershais married to 2 chershim, the Rabbanan. two chershes married to a pikech and a cheresh, the Rabbanon. End of the story. Okay, that was the last one. The point is all the Rabbanon. Let's see inside. Bottom line is the marriage of the Rabbanon. And if the two wives that are sisters are deaf mute, doesn't matter who their husbands are, it's the Rabbanon. Or even better yet, they're all four of them are chershim. It's all a marriage of the Rabbanon. 101. They're sisters, the puzzle. But if they're not sisters, they're not related. You can perform yibum on them. Hey Chidami, says Rav Yosef, the Rebbe, right? Rav Yosef is Abaya's Rebbe. Abaya and Rav is Rebbe. So he's helping out Abaya here. Here I have a bomb raya that doesn't matter when you become a cheresh. If you're talking about a case where they were not deaf mute, and later on they became deaf mute, you don't have the right to give a get in such a case. But who we had before, if he becomes a cheresh, he cannot give a get. He's a shayta. We have to make a distinction that we're talking about a cheresh to start out with, and he got married with sign language. He could get divorced sign language. Well, this is not fair to say when we have one case and a husband is a cheresh and he was always a cheresh, so his wife who's a cheresh is identical to him. That it's in one case. We're not going to another case within the same case. You see that you don't do chalitza in any case, even if she was always a chereshes. Tiyufta the rabba, tiyufta it's a bam, kasha rabba. We're just going to do one more sugya here, and we'll stop like 4 lines from the bottom. Tana v'chireshes. Rav Nachman shkachti l'Rabada berahava l'Rav Chana chasnei, and to his son-in-law the Yasve v'kamakavu v'kamakvu akvasa b'shuka de pumbedisa. I love the lashon. Makva akvasa b'shuka de pumbedisa. They were sitting there, gathered a lot of people around them, in middle of the marketplace, throwing out the Torah. He's asking a question, he's saying it, answer back and forth. Ba'amri, listen to this. Our Mishnah says that a person who's married to 2 women, but they're both the Rabbanon women, but different types of the Rabbanon. One is a Ketana, one is a Chireshes. And when the Mishnah says, you can't get away with just doing Yibum to one. That's because the brother was married to 2 Rabbanons and he is a Deraisa kind of person. This is what Rashi brought before. The svara, if a person likes one of these women more than the other, she becomes his wife more than the other. So she would fall the yibum, and I don't know which one fell the yibum. Why? What's the svara over here? Maybe he likes the minor. Why? Because one day, she's going to become a normal person. You just have to wait a little bit. Patience. Or perhaps, no, he likes the deaf mute. Right now, she's an adult. But they make a distinction. What if they fell from a deaf mute? So think about it without looking inside. Who does a deaf mute like more? His deaf mute wife or the minor? Obviously, he likes the deaf mute. They're the same. They speak the same language, same sign language, the same type of handicap. It's the same thing. No, the other one is also his wife. I mean, the Rabbanon. They're both the Rabbanons. So now I know who the wife is. Now I know who to do chalitza to or yibum to is. That's the Galdeya. Sorry. The basbiyai ubasminei. 2 things are going for her. First of all, she's an adult. Second of all, it's the same type of person. But we said back. It's not true, and that's how we paskin. Doesn't matter who the husband was. At the end of the day, we have a suffix. Have a wonderful week.